guys, you need to understand social media is a highlight reel. No one is going to post the worst things of their life on social media. They are only going to post the best things.
What's happening, guys? Welcome to an episode of Just the Radio. We got a guest that's, he's been everywhere lately. He's traveling everywhere. He's, living the influencer life that I think a lot of people dream of. And, we'll obviously get into why people, think, the word influencer is negative. But, you've been traveling and you've been, living that life that people see all these people on social media, essentially, with over 1 million followers, traveling, eating, partying, brushing shoulders with the other celebs that they follow, the other celebs, the other influencers. So Arnold, bro, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, bro, thanks for having me.
Of course, bro. And you recently just got back from Dubai. When did you get back?
So I got back last week, Tuesday. So it's been a little bit over a week now. And it's been a crazy. I've been on the road for 6 weeks. I was in Dubai for a little bit. I was in Germany for a little bit as well, at the FIBO Festa Expo.
So you were in Germany and then you went straight to Dubai? Or?
No, so I was in Dubai, stopped in Dubai for probably like 5 days, something like that, and then went to Germany for like 5-6 days for the expo, and then back to Dubai for like another 5-6 days, then to Malta for I think a week, and then from Malta about 3 weeks or something I spent in Dubai, and then got back last week.
Sure. Yeah. That's a lot of traveling. Let's start first on the diet aspect, bro, of traveling like that and maintaining obviously the size that you have, maintaining a training schedule, and then obviously navigating a healthy diet to obviously not put on too much weight, maintain size, not lose muscle.
To be honest with you, bro, it's super difficult. To be honest, I'm not too worried about keeping size. Obviously I don't want to gain too much weight, because when you're on, it's kind of like, even though it is like business, you kind of see it as like a holiday kind of thing. So you do end up indulging in a lot of like the local food, the local cuisine, what everyone has to offer. And I'm a foodie, bro. Like I love my food. So like dieting was like super difficult. Also when you're traveling, you're in the airport, you're eating plain food, then you land, and then you're hungry, and then you grab a bar there and like a fruit there, and then it's like you're catching a flight at 3-4 in the morning, you're up the whole night. So it's very helter-skelter. So dieting's super, super challenging. To be honest, it was a bit of a disaster at one stage, but I just try not to like mentally worry about it too much.
Yeah, I guess you are there. You don't want to not experience the cuisine of the country, or you're with someone's taking you out for dinner to experience the country, and you're like, no, sorry guys, I can't have that chicken that's with that basting even, I need to eat healthy. You don't want to do that.
Exactly. If people treat you to dinners and you don't want to be rude and decline the food that they order, a lot of times they order for you, or they just order a bunch of like entrees, and then it's kind of like everyone's like snacking. You can't like say like, listen, I want the chicken breast grilled, not fried, or you want the sushi without sauce, or you want the steak not cooked in butter. You just wing it. In saying that, I think probably like the best advice I could give to someone traveling: listen to your body and listen to your stomach. If you eat and you're full, walk away. Don't eat for the sake of eating, which sometimes I'll be honest, I am a bit guilty of doing that. Just listen to your body, eat whatever you want, but don't eat and eat and eat. And then, once you're full, carry on eating, because it's so delicious. Once you're full, walk away. The food's not going to run away. It's going to be there tomorrow and the next day. So you will live. Yeah,
I remember a quote my grandmother, well, I don't know a quote, but she always used to say, stop eating when the food's at its nicest.
Exactly.
And that's a good indication of, okay, this food's still good, because you can have sushi, pizza, whatever, and it tastes amazing, but then it gets to a point where there's not actually any more flavor. You're kind of just eating for the sake of it.
Yeah, I always say to someone, it doesn't ever get better than the first bite, right? So like when you taste ice cream, like you have that first bite of ice cream, and it like the minute the ice cream touches your tongue, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so good. After the 10th bite, it's probably not going to get better. It's just going to get worse from there. And once you're at that point, you're just eating to fill up, So maybe just fill up on something healthier and then have a bite of like something good when you're kind of already full, so that you don't indulge in the naughty stuff, if it makes sense.
And obviously being in Dubai, then going to Germany, going back to Dubai, you obviously had a gym set up that in each place that you were at, you went to.
Yeah, so obviously Germany was a fitness expo, but in all fairness, like, you know, training when you have to be in an expo the whole day is really tough. You know, you're on your feet the whole day, you know, meals aren't really scheduled. So it's kind of like sometimes you eat and then you go and train like 4 hours later, or, you know, you haven't eaten and, you know, you go and train, you know, you haven't drank any water the whole day. So you're kind of dehydrated. Dubai is like super hot, so you dehydrate super quickly, you know. When you land, it's not like you check into your Airbnb or your hotel and like all your meals are like there for you. You know, like you get there and it's kind of like you kind of just have to wing it. Like go to the grocery store, go buy yourself like a couple of eggs and some bread and just, you know, do it the basics, you know, or just order something simple like a poke bowl in the evenings, something decent, you know. To be honest with you, it's really not ideal, but I think you just have to like mentally like let go and let it be, and just kind of like, you know, just take it as it comes.
It's ironic because, you know, those people that go to the expos are the best of the best, but when you're there, you're the opposite of what you actually are, because you're not able to train, you're not able to diet, so you're actually obviously in a difficult position where, you know, you need to look as, obviously fortunately it's a few days the expo, but if you had to live that kind of lifestyle for an entire year, it will be impossible to manage your physique.
No, you're definitely not going to look like that the whole year, you know. Luckily it is just a few days. Like I think people don't understand how challenging it is, you know, to talk to people, greet people, interact with people, be on your feet for hours and hours at end, and then leave there and already, like, Germany is like snowing. Like, it wasn't snowing hard, but there was a little bit of sleet coming from Johannesburg. I mean, it was really hot, and Dubai is really hot. I'm not really like, it's not ideal conditions to go and like bust out a crazy session. I've been on my feet the whole day. I catch an Uber quickly back to the hotel, grab clothes, get changed, have a pre-workout or something like that, and then it's into the gym, you know. So it's not ideal. It's not how I would preferably like to set up my day for training, but you just have to deal with it, you know. It's like, it's once in a lifetime. Soak it up, enjoy it, and just like let go mentally.
Yeah. Well, bro, if we look at your followers now, how many are on 2 points?
I think it's 2.1 or something like that.
Yeah, so if we look at that, and I mean, I'm sure it's doubled within the last 6 months. I remember points where you're on like 1 million.
Yeah.
And then you look again and then you're on 2 million.
Yeah. So it's kind of like one of those things, like money makes money kind of thing, you know. I think it's kind of like everyone always says your first million is like really hard to make. After you've made your first million, to make your next million is like so much easier. And then from there on, it's a lot easier. Every million that comes in is a lot easier. You know, it's not like it's always that first million that's like a super struggle. With followers, I think it's very similar. You know, like that first 10,000 is like really, really tough. But like from 10 to 20 is a lot easier than it was from 0 to 10. And then for the first 50, you know, compared to like the next 50 is really tough. So I also think like people are inclined to follow people that have followers. You know, it's kind of like, ooh, you know, like this person, like I'll follow him because he's got X, Y, and Z, you know. It's just the society we live in. It is what it is.
And at what point do you think was almost that breakthrough for you? You know, like, I don't know, obviously I remember there was a stage, or there would have had to have been a stage when you're on like 60K. It was like 4 something years ago, and then suddenly like it just grew, and then it was exponential.
Yeah. So I think probably the biggest changes I saw is every time I traveled, you know, I did see like a massive spike in traction, like, and people interacting and like followers, etc. So every time I traveled, it would just like, you know, continue. I was worried with lockdown that, you know, with no traveling, it would kind of like slow down and things would like really like be stagnant and like it wouldn't grow. But I think more people took to social media during lockdown because there was no like face-to-face interaction. So social media kind of like really picked up. If it was probably for influencers, the best thing that could have happened. You know, people can now advertise, you know, through social media because people couldn't get out. They were all stuck at their homes. So social media became like the most important platform to advertise. So I think I personally benefited from that, and I found like a lot of more interaction, and literally like it's just like a snowball effect. Like the more you get, the more, and then eventually it just like snowballs from there.
And you know, a lot of people, especially in South Africa, and you've obviously moved far away from that, but in terms of, you know, working with brands, and people say, we'll give you this for free, or we'll give you 3 supplements a month. Like, people need to, and they will do that overseas where it's, no, you pay me. Like, if I'm going to be working for you, you pay me. It's not just, okay, cool, I'll do a few posts a month if you give me something for free. And I think that's the problem South Africans have, where it's, I just want free stuff, and they're not looking at themselves as a business. We're like, okay, I can actually earn income from this.
100%. You are your brand. I remember when I started this whole social media thing in 2015, when it was still like WBFF days, everyone always was like, your brand, your brand, your brand, your brand. And I was like, what are these people talking about? Brand, brand, brand. I was like, I just want to compete and have fun and have a jewel. And like, I'll take pictures for people to see what I'm doing, so that like people can keep up to date with what I'm doing. So I don't have to go and tell everyone, look, like I'm doing this and this is how I look and here is where I am. I was just like, for me, it was just fun. It was like, let's just have a jewel on social media, taking pictures on all these cool places, showing people these cool experiences I was having. So for me, there was no like brand or anything behind it, and everyone just kept talking brand, brand, brand. And I had never understood what they like meant by that. Eventually, fast forward a few years later, when it starts becoming a little more serious, where like you can start monetizing out of it, it's like, okay, your Instagram essentially becomes your CV. Unfortunately, I was saying to someone the other day that, high school reunions, if someone is not present on social media, you feel like he doesn't exist. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what Peter's doing. Peter could have a massively successful life and is crazy successful, but just doesn't have social media. And because I don't know, I assume that he is probably not doing as well, or he's not living a good life or anything like that. It's just like society just assumes, so it comes back like you have to be present on social media. And guys that are accepting things for like no pay, it's just, if that's what you value yourself at, it is a shame.
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, everyone starts out at positions where maybe they can have that trade of, product for the photos or the posts or whatever. But I think you also need to have value in yourself, and you need to look at yourself and you say, this is what value I will create for you. I'm not going to, I would rather turn down that and get nothing for another year than assume that I'm only worth, 1,000 rands free products. Whereas I would rather even get 500 rands cash and 500 rands products, because you probably were never going to use those products, or you're never going to wear that clothing or whatever if it wasn't for this deal. But now you are, because they've obviously reached out. So rather take that little bit of money and then use that money to maybe reinvest into something.
Yeah.
And I assume you do a lot of that reinvesting where, you'll make money from a brand deal and you will say, okay, well, if I, let's say, buy a Louis bag, that can help me with my brand on social media. Correct. Because you are marketing to a certain person. If I make money from this trip, let me put money into doing something awesome while I'm on the trip. I'm obviously going to get the experience from it, but it's going to help my social media.
Yeah. So like 100% what you said, the thing is, it is a tricky situation. You get a lot of people that come to you, be like, listen, I want to get sponsored. I want to be with the brand. And I'm like, why? Like, what benefit is there for you, Peter, who's only got 1,000 followers, to be with the brand? Like, they're not going to give you any money, first of all. So financially, like, there's no incentive for you or for them, because you're not going to like do anything for them. So they're going to give you a couple of free supplements, which probably won't even equate to 1,000 rand. It'll probably be less. Okay. Which I'm sure out of your own pocket, if you're really serious about your diet and your training, you could probably afford a little bit under 1,000 rand for your nutrition. So it's kind of like, you just want to have an identity with the company. So I'm like, just go on your own, do your own thing, buy your own supplements. And when you have enough worth, to offer a company, then approach them. Everyone wants to be sponsored, but understand that it's a business. So what are you giving them? So if a company comes to you and says, I want to give you 5,000 rand supplements and pay you 10,000 rand a month. Okay, great. But what are you giving them? Are you giving them 20,000 rand sales? And if you are, how are you giving them 20,000 rand sales? I can guarantee you now your 1,000 followers are not giving them 20,000 rand, and they probably need more than 20,000 rand. So if they're paying you 10, they normally want 20% of what they're paying you. So if they're paying you 10, they probably want, way, way, way more, So you have to kind of like evaluate, if you're not giving them like that income, you can't ask for that. you know. So that's where like your brand becomes your business, you know. Like, what are you offering people? Are you offering people a guaranteed sales of, say, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 rand a month? If so, how so? Who is buying? You know, and what leverage do you have? Are they buying because of your Instagram? Are they buying because of your YouTube? Are they buying because you're the owner of a gym and you literally have 2,000 online clients or personal training clients that you know are each going to spend 1,000 rand a month or whatever it is, you know? So you kind of have to like make those calculations, and that's how you can evaluate your worth. You can't just be, I won a competition, okay, but no one really cares that you won the competition because there's no leverage there. So I think guys need to slowly start understanding that concept.
How did you come about, navigating through certain posts? As you said in the beginning, you were just posting because you enjoy gym, you enjoy training, you enjoy competing, and you're having fun. But how did you develop your brand? How did your brand shift?
So obviously it was just all fun. It was just like having fun and enjoying myself. Eventually, it got to the point where it was like, okay, you've got like a decent amount of people following you because they enjoy seeing what you're doing. How can we make this bigger and better? Unfortunately, you had to then, the term brand became real to me, where it was like, if I am a brand and I am a business and I'm running this business, how can I maximize my income? I need to, first of all, spend money on a business to make money. You can't run a business and spend no money on it, yet receive all the income. Like, you have to spend money to get money. So you have to spend money on travel. You have to spend money on the way you look, what you wear, etc. If that is what you're trying to go for, if you're trying to go for a certain persona where you want to advertise a lifestyle, you have to do things that showcase this lifestyle, and you have to spend the money to be at the places, the venues, etc., to showcase that lifestyle so people can see that. At the beginning, you probably have to take out more than you're making, but that's how any business is. You're never going to see a profit until like a certain stage. Then eventually, as your brand / business starts growing, then you can invest a little bit less and make a little bit more, or you can invest the same, but you are making more, so which gives you a profit. So it's your brand, your Instagram, your profile, everything is exactly like a business. And the more you treat it like a business, like if you're going to post something, post with intention. Like, what is the intention of this post? How am I going to monetize this post? So if you're posting, say an image of you, crazy drunk on the floor, like, how are you going to like make money out of this post? You're not going to make money. Are people going to follow you because of this post? Probably not. They probably will have a good laugh, maybe for entertainment value, but it's not really like, for me, there's
no brands that are going to want to work 100%, with someone like that.
There needs to be intention of everything you do, so it's literally a business.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've watched Black Mirror.
I don't
the series on Netflix. So there's a series on Netflix, and you understand why I'm bringing this up now is, so basically there's this one episode, because each episode on Black Mirror is different. And this one episode, basically your social media is what allows you to get into places. So there's this one girl, it's not really social media, but it's kind of, there's a rating on Uber, let's say, where you rate the driver. Yes. So this girl wants to move into a higher income area, or a higher rating area. Yes. So she has to, so it's, you get your fives. Your fives are basically your super wealthy, your elites. Your fours, obviously slightly less. Your threes, maybe middle class. And then twos, maybe like trailer trash. And then one, like homeless, let's say. So she's a 3. She wants to move into a 4 area. So she starts networking with 4s. She starts trying to build up her relationship. She gets, a lady at the coffee shop is a 3 as well. She has a nice interaction with her. So this number 3 gives her a good review, so then she gets boosted points, and then eventually she gets to a 4. Then she is able to move into this area, and then her life goes terrible, and she goes back to a 1. And like, it's just crazy how and it's obviously trying to predict, and it's also kind of showing a mirror to society, and how if your social media is a certain way, you viewed as better, or you viewed as certain more successful, you viewed as your social media. 2 million followers, someone with 2 million followers is going to be viewed in society's eyes as better or more successful someone with 1,000 followers.
100%.
And that person with 1,000 followers could have more money and more everything.
Exactly.
So that's why obviously they made that series, just to kind of show the discrepancy between reality and social media. But you being in Dubai, it's currency, bro. It's
literally like, I obviously haven't seen this Black Mirror series, but I actually should watch it. But you've literally described Dubai like to the T, except for like, it is literally like that. Your social media is literally your rate card, what your status is. If you go to a place and you show them, every person who is decently successful on social media has their own rate card, like has their own CV that they have made themselves, what they offer, their insights, their audience, their traction, their demographics, their gender, everything. So everyone has that. But at the same time, the first things companies see or businesses see, they see your social media. And that is where they put you in your class, the one like where you said the 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you are, say, for instance, a 2 and you want to get to a 3, how do you get to a 3? You start networking with people that are in 3s. And then eventually their followers follow you and vice versa. And then eventually what happens is you upgrade from the 2 to the 3. So it sounds very much similar to the series you just mentioned. And Dubai is exactly like that. Dubai is literally, I think personally, the social media capital of the world. Like, I've never been to a place where it's literally you are classified and put in a class according to your social media, so literally, like, you go to a pool and it's like, if you have 100,000 followers, we give you, just an example, it was like something like 2,000 dirham for the day, and we'll give you a bottle of Prosecco and we'll give you free access to the pool, and like you get a +2. If you're over 500, we'll give you 3,000 dirham a day, plus we'll give you another bottle of Prosecco and you get a +4. If you're 1 million, it's like you get 4,000 dirham a day, you get a +5, and you get a bottle of Prosecco. So it's just like exactly like that, according to your following is what you get. So that's how Dubai works. If the more followers you get, the more potential for your income.
And can you just rock up to, like, let's say a pool party or whatever and be like, yep, this is me? Or how would that kind of thing work?
Okay, it's not quite that simple. So obviously there are people that run a pool party, there are organizers, there's people that market, etc. So what they would do is, while they marketing the event, they would obviously like to get some influencers on board, which they would want to market that party at that time. So they would either approach you, or if you wanted to, you could approach them. Obviously, that's where the trick comes in, where you need to be like really smart. You need to know who are the right people to talk to, because you don't know who the marketing people are for this event. You could contact them through obviously each event has a profile, or if it's at a venue, you could like DM the venue or the event company or whatever it is. You could DM them and be like, hey, like, I can offer so and so, and then you could get in touch with them. But you'd probably have to like pre-organize before you go that, look, I will be coming here, like, this is what I can offer, like, let's collaborate, let's do something. And then obviously that's where the negotiations and the talks start, But I think in terms of that, you could pretty much go to almost any restaurant, provided they are serious about social media, which I think 70 to 80% of restaurants, venues, everything in Dubai are. You can go there and leverage your profile and be like, listen, I can offer this, this and that. And then that's when you guys have a discussion and talk, what are the pros and cons, and negotiate, going forward.
And, building these connections, how has it been for you? How did you get started in the connection? Obviously, was it the supplement companies that you were working with? How did you get your foot through the door in Dubai?
So with Dubai, I think Dubai's like crazy about fitness. So if you love fitness, you'll love Dubai. Like, Dubai is crazy about fitness. So everyone who's like fitness orientated goes to Dubai is like, this is the ultimate place to live. Like, the gyms are amazing. The lifestyle is suited for Dubai. The weather's like great for training, and everything is just everything is just perfect for fitness there. So obviously I've traveled a lot to Dubai pre-COVID, traveled to Dubai, made connections there, went to the expo, went to the gyms, made all the connections, etc., networked. But literally all I did in the beginning, I literally just walked up to people, introduced myself, and just started a conversation. That's exactly what I did. For every 10 people I had a conversation with, maybe only 3 kind of like, stuck, and we exchanged details. The others were just kind of like, hey, how, this is, I'm sorry, okay, cool, bye. Maybe like only 3 stuck. But if you do that for long enough, 3 becomes 6, 6 becomes 9. Eventually you build up enough connections and a big enough base that you can go to Dubai and leverage those connections. Connections meet other connections, and then, like I said, it's a snowball effect. Like, you just start networking and then things just start happening.
Do you think that's possible in South Africa to that degree? Obviously not, because there's not as much money and there's not enough people willing to collab through connections and social media, the way they are there. Because in South Africa, there's not many places that you can, obviously maybe high-end lodges, those kind of places that you can do it with, but you can't really DM, I don't know, maybe you can like DM Saint and be like, what's up guys, can I come through next week, whatever, we'll post about it. Maybe then you can do it. But I assume in South Africa, obviously it's not going to be nearly the same.
It's nowhere near the same. Like, South Africa is super, super tough. Like, I think there are certain places where if you do reach out to them, they will like collab, and like you guys can like interact and like negotiate. But most of the places won't even like consider the offer, because they don't see the value in social media. Like, the internet has become such a big thing all over the world. I just feel like South Africa is just quite a few steps behind. Like, we'll get there eventually, but like Dubai is already there. So every influencer is going there, going to Dubai, applying their trade there, because it's seen as a high commodity. An influencer is seen as a high commodity, whereas here it's not reached that level yet. But I think when it does, it'll be great. But the thing is, it just hasn't. They just don't see the value in the internet yet. People might still see value in advertising on, say, newspaper magazines, or advertising on, like pop-up ads and stuff like that. They don't see the value.
Even people still doing radio, when radio is even dead.
Yeah, the thing is, like, radio is like, I know there's a lot of listeners, but who's really paying attention?
When last did you listen to the radio? Every time I'm in my car, I'm listening to Spotify.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Everyone's listening to Spotify, Apple Music. They're listening to podcasts. How many people drive to work for like an hour and they listen to a podcast on the way to work? So there, your audience is already like down to half. Secondly, people like to do what other cool people do. People like to be associated with cool things. So like, if you see someone that you look up to, or you follow, or you admire, or whatever it is, and they eating at, say, this place, it immediately becomes like a stigma. It's like, okay, well, he or she's eating there, like, let's go try, because it looks really cool. Obviously the influencers content needs to be good enough that it's like showing the best of the venue or the restaurant or whatever it is. So you follow them, they go there, that must mean that it's good, and it's like, so you want to go too. So I just feel like South Africa is just not there yet. Hopefully they do get there, but they're just not there yet, which I just feel it's honestly such a shame, because I've seen what it does in Dubai. I've seen what it does for their businesses and stuff like that. And the little bit of influence I've done here, I've seen what it's done to their businesses. It's like it's skyrocketed their traction on their profiles like tenfold. It's just it's a shame that we're just not there yet.
Yeah, and obviously, so your social media is built around your body and your brand, but you are going to age and your brand is going to shift slightly. So obviously you've started companies, you're doing things that, kind of set you up. If, I don't know, some reason Instagram had to crash, or,
Yes.
Certain things had to happen, you've obviously allocated time to other things for other revenues of income, worst case scenario, or even not worst case scenario, but, if you do get older and your social media, well, if Instagram is a completely new social media that comes out, you need to move on. You've got other businesses.
Yeah, so obviously you have to diversify your income. Anyone who did not have a multiple streams of income when COVID hit, you were crying. I mean, everyone was crying in general, but if you had one source of income and COVID hit, like, you were suffering, unless you were a pharmaceutical company, everyone was suffering. So I think anyone who's half smart will know that you can't rely on one source of income, and the thing is, everything in life is a fad, so Facebook, it's popular. It was popular many years ago. It's lost its popularity. MySpace came and went, So everything is temporary, And I'm sure Instagram will be temporary as well. There will be a stage where Instagram will also like start to lose its popularity, and the next cool thing will be there, which could be TikTok or whatever it is, So you have to keep that in mind, and you have to be ready for it, because if the carpet does get pulled under you, don't be like, oh, I don't know, you need to be prepared for that. So like I've obviously invested into property, and, it's things that like short-term rentals, rent and buying, letting out, that kind of thing. So obviously, you have to like diversify yourself. Otherwise, if one income dries up, then you need to be able to survive off another income.
Yeah. And you've never looked at doing more TikTok, like a no type thing?
Yeah. So I have looked at TikTok. If I am very, very honest with you, I'm not technology savvy, so I'm not very good at technology. So even like editing and like TikTok videos and stuff like that, I'm not very good at that. At the same time, like I've got my Instagram, which is really successful for me, and I do put a fair enough amount of time into social media, but at the same time I also have other businesses, so already Instagram takes up so much time of my day. If I give the same amount of time I give to Instagram to TikTok, what about all my other businesses? You know what I mean? So I need to understand, I'm like spreading myself thin as is, and I need to go where the best is for me, where the most amount of money is going to be made. So I'm not saying TikTok doesn't make money. It's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that I spend so much time on Instagram that I literally am giving the bare minimum time to my other businesses. If I gave any more time to any other form of social media, my other businesses are really going to start to take strain, and like I cannot afford that. So I need to really be wise with my time, and for me, I rather just focus on Instagram and post on TikTok every now and again, because I'm already spreading myself thin.
Yeah. And it's being on social media so much, it messes with your mind. It messes with your your sanity, your space, the space that you feel safe in, because you will see, okay, this is amazing, I've done so well, this is really an achievement for me, achieving anything. And then you see on social media someone's doing a little bit more, a little bit different, a little bit better, and then you think, oh, what I just did actually isn't good enough, I need to push towards that, or I need to do this. Or you just sit there scrolling hours after hours, or you making your own videos, then you post it, then someone else posts something, you're like, oh, I should have done that. And like, how is there like a detox that you take? Is there a break? Because I also sometimes I'll just be like, phone off, I can't.
So I think the most important thing, and I see so much people be like, I need a detox from social media, I'm deleting social media, or social media gives them complexes, etc. Like, guys, you need to understand, social media is a highlight reel. No one is going to post the worst things of their life on social media. They are only going to post the best things. So everything you see is a highlight of their life, That's what social media is. It's highlights of people's lives, So don't take it as if that's how he lives every single day, or that's what she eats every day, This is how social media is. And people need to realize that, yes, obviously you do need a detox, but in saying that, why do you need a detox? Why do you get so touched by certain things on social media? Because someone's living a better life. If he's living a better life, level up, bro. Be better, get better. How is he doing it? What is he doing that I'm not doing? It should challenge you. It shouldn't demotivate you. If it's demotivating you, then that's just your mindset. Change your mindset. Don't detox. Don't go delete Instagram. Don't get depressed. Change your mindset. Be better. Want more for yourself. So don't get so despondent. Because it is a highlight reel. I promise you now, anyone who tells me they post the worst things on social media because they want to show how crap their life is, I don't know of anyone that will do that. Makes no sense.
And especially those people that post crying videos, and I think those are fake. Posting a photo of you crying and you upset, that's looking for the same attention as posting a booty pic. 100%. Because if you're truly depressed and really sad, you're not going to, most of the time, you're not going to be posting on social media. If you are ashamed of something, or if you are really heartbroken or whatever, most people keep it to themselves and don't want people to, know that side of them. And instead, people will go and post a photo of them crying. It's just for more attention. If you're looking for attention, you're not looking to actually heal.
Yeah. So like that's probably like a deeper issue that they have with themselves, to be honest with you. Anytime I've received bad news or I've gone through like a difficult time, the last thing I wanted to do was hop onto social media and tell people about it. That was like the last thing I wanted to do. I just wanted to be amongst loved ones and feel safe and feel better about myself. The last thing I did was pick up the phone and tell people how upset I am and sad I am, and then go post on social media. Look, I get like a lot of people like to show vulnerability and show their lives and show that aspect. Respect to you. That's good. That's great. I have nothing against that. That is fine, but personally, and I know most people are wired like this, if they go through like a hard time or something, the last thing they're going to do is post on social media. And if you are posting on social media and it's for attention, then obviously there is like a deeper issue there than just, looking for attention. There's probably like insecurities, you probably get validated by, like people, feeling sympathy for you and stuff like that. Because I know when I was genuinely upset, like genuinely upset, or I went through something very difficult, I'll definitely not post it immediately. Maybe once I'm healed and I feel better, I'll tell the story, but I won't do it immediately.
People, mentioning the highlight reel aspect, people need to understand, if you see someone with this car, if you see someone, eating at this restaurant with this luxury item, you don't know how much of their salary went to it. You don't know that at the end of the month, they've got absolutely nothing left because 15,000 Rand of their salary went to their car. 15,000 Rand went to where they are eating out and posting about it. Then they're absolutely flat broke. They've got no savings. They've got nothing to fall back on. And they're just doing it for social media. If you do those kind of things just to impress people, then it's pointless. If you're doing it just to get that validation, it's pointless. If you're doing it as a brand and a business, you need to do it in a smart way, obviously, to reinvest into your brand, but for a brand's purpose, not for I want outside validation.
Yeah, 100%. So there's two answers to that. So the first answer is, yes, you don't know. Maybe he's renting the car and he doesn't own the car. Maybe that was literally the last $100 he had in his wallet or in his bank account that he spent on that meal, So don't get touched about it. Don't be like, oh, like he lives this life, whatever. That could be the last dime he had, or it could just be like all debt. It could all just be debt. And then trust me, you don't want to be that person. Like you don't want his life. If it is for like a brand, or you're trying to showcase a certain lifestyle, because this is your brand and that's the kind of like look you're going for, that's the brand style you're going for, good for you, that's fine, but that's obviously your brand. But then at the same time, like people must just stop getting so touched. It's like, just relax, if that's his brand and that's what he's going for, let him be. Don't be like, oh, but like, but this, but that. Like, let him be. If that's his brand, let him advertise his brand. If that's the last bit of money he's got in his wallet, then that's the last bit of money he's got in his wallet. Trust me, you don't want to be that person anyway.
Yeah. And social media is funny like that, because people look at someone and yes, they might not be the person commenting hate, but they'll be the person that will, at a braai that weekend, talk about that person and talk about what he's doing on social media and who he's with or who she with, and talk negative about this person, but they still want that person's life.
Of course, bro. Of course. I mean, that's one thing, like, I'll be honest, like, if you have social media and you have a decent following and you have some sort of like public presence, whatever, you have to have thick skin. You have to really have thick skin. If you get rattled by every single comment or every single thing someone says bad about you, then social media is not for you, bro. Just delete it. Don't even venture down that path. Go be something else. Go do something else. It's like, you can't be a bus driver that drives cross country and have problems like sleeping behind the wheel. Then that career is not for you. It's like social media and thick skin. If you don't have thick skin, you can't do social media. Just walk away, do something else that doesn't involve you needing thick skin, so like thick skin, social media, they go hand in hand. You can't get touched by every single little thing someone says. At the end of the day, like, hate is not such a bad thing at the end of the day, because people are talking about you. You're relevant. When people stop talking about you and stop hating on you, that's when you kind of have to be worried, because you're not relevant anymore. So rather be on people's tongues and and let them talk about you, then be like, oh, you know, why are we even talking about this person? They don't even have relevance in our life. Like they like has-beens or that they gone, you know. So once you get to that stage, I think be more worried about that. If, again, social media is your game and what you're going for, rather be worried about people are not talking about you than when people are.
Yeah, well, precisely. But I mean, the tallest trees catch the most wind.
100%.
There's no such thing as bad publicity. If you are being spoken about, even if it's in a negative sense at a bra, there might be one or two people that have never heard of you. There they go and follow you. There might be, you know, bums in seats, regardless, pay you the same. Doesn't matter if they like you or they hate you. That person, that follower, one that likes you, one that doesn't like you, is still a follower. Even if they're following you to dislike you and to talk negative about you, they're still following you. They're still boosting your algorithm. They're still commenting negative stuff, and you benefiting.
They're still putting money in your pocket. People don't understand. Like, if you hate someone, you still watch their stuff, you're still indirectly putting money in their pocket, because Instagram is recognizing that you're watching their stuff. So the algorithm's seeing that, oh, it's getting views, let's push it up. It gets more traction. So that's what people don't understand. Hate as much as you want. You're just making them more money. The more you comment, the more you hate, the more you post about that person, you're just creating more traction, which is just putting more money in their pocket at the end of the day. If you genuinely want the worst for them and you don't want them to benefit off whatever, then you just keep quiet and you say nothing, because when there's no traction and there's no comments and there's no eyes and there's no there's no audience, there's no money.
Yeah. If you forward someone's post, Instagram doesn't care if you have a negative comment to your friend or if it's positive comment. You're still sharing it. So Instagram's still picking it up that this is good content that needs to be, you know, highlighted a bit more on the algorithm.
It's like, this is popular content. Oh, like people are sharing it. Like Instagram's not bothered about, oh, look at this idiot, or like, look at this guy, what he did. You know, it's like they don't care. They just see that it's being shared, whether it's being shared for good or for bad, it's still being shared at the end of the day, which means it just boosts your algorithm.
Yeah. And now plans in terms of, you know, obviously because you travel a lot, would you ever leave the country? Would you want to? Have you thought of that?
Like permanently. To be honest with you, I've doubled and dabbed with the idea. Obviously, to be honest, like we've only really been able to travel this year. Like, I mean, a little bit last year, but then, you know, December came and it was a bit of a stuff up. So this year's only been the real chance to really travel again. We've obviously all had like almost like a 2-year break from traveling. So now we've been able to travel a lot. So obviously you've traveled overseas. When you go overseas and you see how people live, you see how things are, it's like a massive eye opener. You know, obviously you want to live in places that you're obviously seen as high commodity. You're obviously seen as someone that, you know, people want to invest in and associate with, you know, so where your value is high. So I've obviously doubled and dabbed with the idea. I've thought about it. You know, it's probably too early to say right now, but it's definitely something I am considering and looking at. The thing is, it's like people don't understand, like it's not so easy to just pack your bags and just leave. For all, if you've got so many businesses and roots in South Africa, there's so much things to consider. Like apart from just family and friends, which is like massive, you're going to a foreign country, you will make family and you'll make new friends and stuff like that, and your family will probably understand. But if you have businesses here, like you can't live off of rands, and you know, you can't earn in rands and live in dirhams or dollars or pounds. It's like you're rowing backwards. You need to live in dollars, pounds, and dirhams. If you're staying in that country, you can't live off of rands. So you have to go there with a certain amount of income that you're expected to make from day one, you know, unless you take a big chunk of savings over with you. But if you have businesses here, what happens to those businesses? You know what I mean? And you can get other people to run them, but then you lose touch with your business. So it's not that easy. It's very, very complicated.
Yeah, and the problem is with that quality control, where you go, someone else is running your business, they don't run it the way you wanted to. Clients aren't happy because they might have initially got you know, involved as clients because of you, be it the owner, the manager, whatever, and then you leave. You're earning in dollars, and it might be more beneficial for you to live in South Africa, constantly travel, earn in dollars, earn in foreign currency, and then still come back to South Africa and enjoy all of that income.
Yeah, it'd be great to like earn in dollars and live in rands. I mean, literally you'll be winning all day. You know, like I was in Dubai, and like obviously there's a certain amount of living expenses you have to cover, and obviously earning in rands, and like I do get some sort of dollar-based income, but earning in rands and living in dirhams was challenging. It was super challenging. Everything is like 4 times, 5 times more expensive. You kind of like flinch every time like you see a bill or like the price of stuff.
Because even here you're like, 1,000 rand dinner, that's quite a lot. And then you go there and it's 1,000 rand just for like one steak.
Yeah, you go 1,000 and you're like, wow, just 1,000 rand for that. Like, is you like, so a lot of those things you have to like consider. Also, like, if you have certain things in South Africa, like if you're paying off a house, if you're paying a car, if you are paying salaries, etc., like you have to consider all these things. You can't just like get up and leave. What happens to the house that you're paying off? What happens to the people that you've employed in your business? There's so much things to consider. There's so many moving parts. You have to really look at these things strategically and make a decision. And if you do make a decision, it's not going to be a overnight decision. It's going to be a process of maybe a year or so of navigating and restructuring everything that it is possible. But like ideally, you would love to like live in South Africa, travel abroad, make money, and live with that money you've made overseas in South Africa. That would obviously be the ideal situation.
Yeah. Well, bro, I want to say thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, and thanks guys for listening.